Hi, my name is Edgar Sanchez. I'm a senior software architect at SpearmanTech. This is the first in a video series intended to show the features of SpearmanTech License Vault. In this video, I will show you how to set up License Vault for first-time use. This video assumes that you have already installed the application with all the default settings in the Windows, Vista, or one of the other supported operating systems. It also assumes that you have installed the Matisse database system to a server or a workstation on your network and added a user with read and write security settings applied. At this point in the database setup, it's simply waiting for you to configure it. So that's what we're gonna look at. The first thing you're gonna do is open up the Service Setup app. So you'll want to locate it. In Windows Vista, you want to click on your Start button and go to All Programs and look for the SpearmanTech folder. And under License Vault, you're going to see a number of items, but the one we're looking at first is Service Setup. Clicking on that, go ahead and accept any Windows messages you get for opening up that app. The app uses administrative level privileges. So you'll need to hit continue or OK to Windows prompts for security rights. When the application opens, it's going to look kind of like this. It might have some previously set values in here. You may want to replace those with actual values though. In my system, I've set up the database to be at the following IP, but yours will probably be different. I used 192.168.1.102 as my IP address. You can also enter a URL friendly name such as www.mycorporation.com or whatever. So you don't have to use an IP address, but just for this example, I'm using an IP address. The database name, I went ahead and used the example database that ships standard in Matisse, but you'll probably want to create a database with a name that better accurately defines what you're doing with License Vault. The database user, I like to use just for this video, I like to use just plain old service user. I think when you first install License Vault, it goes ahead and sets Surface User as the default, but you can use any username you like for the administrative level user. This user will be used by your customers, so you'll want to be creative with it, just for security, and you'll never want to give it out because you don't want any unauthorized access to the database from the outside. And that's basically what you'll need to do with the username. The password, I'm just going to go ahead and type it in. I've typed in a silly password for this example. I'm going to use the default ports as well. So there are three ports you can configure. So you could actually have a service running on a different port if you needed to. I'm just setting them all to use the same port. And then after you fill that in, you want to go ahead and hit start to get the service started. It's pretty quick, so just go ahead and hit OK. And now we're ready to go ahead and go into License Vault for the first time. You can find it located on your desktop if you if you installed it with the default options. You want to go ahead and double click that and accept any Windows prompts. It also uses administrative level privileges, so that's added security to make sure that nobody tries to use License Vault in your network that isn't an administrator on the machine that they're on the workstation or server that it's running on. Next, we want to go ahead and type in the location of the service. The service is running on this system. Usually your service will be installed on a server somewhere. So you'd configure the service setup screen. You'd see that service setup screen on the server that you want to run the service on, not on your local machine. But since I'm running this test, I want to be able to video it. I put the service on this machine. So my answer will be localhost here, while yours might be, some other IP address where the service is running. The Matisse database and the service do not have to be installed on the same machine as of this release, which is 1.5.5. So you might read somewhere in the documentation something contrary to that, but in 1.5.5 they can run separately. So that's a neat trick. Next thing you want to do is enter the service user. Well, whatever username you used for logging in, and your password. And then you'll notice there's a configure button near the bottom here, and what that does, it goes ahead and fills the database in with the structure needed to run license vault, and it's really quick and simple. So I'm going to go ahead and click that. Okay, you get this message that says database configured. If your database was running and everything was working fine, you'll get this message. You might get another message in the case that your database wasn't running at the time. You can run this tool again or clean out the database if something's wrong in there, and then try again. I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. Next, you're going to get this screen that's going to ask you to insert your license key for the product. If you're testing out the product for the first time, you probably won't have a license key, so you can go ahead and hit cancel, and that will simply set the database to run in trial mode. So you're basically done at this point. You can go ahead and go into License Vault and try it for the first time. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to go ahead and go into login, and what you should see is that it says trial mode right there. And that concludes this short video. We covered how to configure License Vault for the first time, and configure the database, and also go into the application. So in the next videos, we're going to be showing you how to add licenses and products, and do other things with the product as well that are really neat. So thanks for being with me, and if you have any questions, don't hesitate to shoot it to our sales department, sales@SpearmanTech.com, or any of our sales partners. So thanks a lot. Bye bye.